And there we go. We are officially sprinting. I
Yay!
feel like I have come back from a sprint. I am out of breath already.
It's all good. This is the different kind of sprint where you can chill and sorry, my phone just started singing.
No, you're fine.
This is the kind of sprint where you can relax rather than,
Exactly.
be exhausted.
Yeah. So this will be the second sprints I've hosted for this Gothtober. I can't believe Gothtober is 5 years old.
Oh,
Because
that is amazing.
I'm almost 100% sure Gothtober was where I first discovered Your Meaning the Undead books in the first
Oh,
place.
really?
I'm pretty
That is
sure it was
amazing.
either the second, it might have been even the first. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to see what year it came out because I'm almost 100% sure.
Yeah, it came out April 2021. So.
Yes, that would have been the second one then.
And I think the proofs were knocking around. Actually, the proofs came out just before then. Like the proofs were October the previous year. So it may be that proofs were knocking around at that point as well. So
it might have been that. Yeah.
That's
I think it might have been actually. Let's have a look and see.
I have a school-age child, actually, just school-age. So my child has grown along with Gothtober. I think my child was born at the same time as Gothtober.
That's really cute. That's really cute.
So as Gothtober continues, he can grow alongside it.
That's a lot of pressure to keep this readathon going.
Yeah, I mean, you can just keep it going for his whole life if you like.
There we go. There we go. That's what we'll do. Fantastic. So what will you be doing during sprints this evening? Are you writing? Are you reading?
Oh, if you could see the spread of things around me, you'd just laugh at me because I've got my phone here ready to do a bit of social media, and I've got a laptop here that's for one job, and this is my travel laptop, my tiny one that I've been working on today. So I need to continue working on that, and then I've got my full-size laptop to do something else on. So I'm just surrounded by admin
all the things,
basically. Yeah, I wish I could read, but I mean, obviously, can read. That would be a different conversation. But I wish I had time to read.
I wish I were literate.
I know. This like open a discussion with that. I've read about a quarter of a book this month so far.
That's not bad for a first week. That is not bad.
I just wish it's October. I really wanted to read loads of spooky books, and I'm not fitting it in at the moment. Do you ever have months where reading seems to be the thing that just slips? I've had a whole year like that.
Yeah.
It's just been a real low reading year.
100%. So I always find it's June and July. I don't know what it is about the summer. I never get reading done. Maybe it's because my favourite books all seem to come out in the wintry months anyway. So I'm burnt out. But also I started a new job in September. So I read 2 books the entire month. And I was like, okay, to be fair, that's not too bad considering it's like a new job. And then I saw that my average number of books per month the year before was 17. And I was like, that is a dip. That is a considerable dip. So yeah, no, I totally get that. And I think also the hard thing is when you're trying to force yourself to read things or you feel you should read things, it's not going to happen.
No, I think what happened over the summer, I was reading some stuff that was sort of blurb requests for people, and they were books I couldn't talk about. So I did my wrap up and I was like, I read 2 books that I can't say anything about. So here's like the one book that I read that I can actually talk about. So I think that's been a bit of a thing for me. Like I've been it's not reading for work. It's still reading really fun stuff, but it feels a bit like work as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you still freelance then, or are you now employed by?
So I've still got Waypoint Books. That is still freelance. And I still have some freelance work that I do. But no, I've taken on a job. I'm essentially helping a school with their theatre stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I'm essentially a production assistant. But my title sounds very cool because I am theatre director in residence.
Oh my gosh.
Which is very fancy.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically I help them with their production. So I'm directing a couple of things. I'm assisting with a few things. I do like the drama clubs and after school activities and all that sort of stuff. And then I also, because it's a boarding school, 1 day a week I do a duty and I have to be there till 10 o'clock and babysit them whilst they do their homework kind of thing. So it's a really nice mix of different things that I do. But it has meant that the first few, because so this is something that I need to discuss because we're having a review in a couple of weeks' time, because it's such a new job. I'm only paid for 37.5 hours a week. And my first 6 weeks, I have done, on average, 46 hours.
Yeah, that's a slight difference there. Just a bit.
So I'm like, either they need to pay me more or they need to take things off my plate because it's just something's not adding up there. But I love the job. Like the job is so much fun, and the people that I work with are great. So my head of department is 2 months older than me and has like the same sense of humor as me. He's a really, really nice guy. They've got a costume mistress who has worked on some incredible theatre, but also films like Back to the Future and things like that. Yeah, like her costumes she's made are in museums.
That's really cool. What amazing experience to work with people like that and to kind of be able to dip your toes into all different aspects of theatre. You might find something that you really love that you can just kind of run with.
Exactly. So yeah, very, very cool. But it means that evenings like this, I'm like, they're precious to me. So this evening I am going to be listening to Clown in a Cornfield Volume 3, which I'm so excited for. I'm so excited for. And I'm also going to be decluttering the living room as I am potentially going to be moving house soon. Which is a bit of a surprise, just because of plans and stuff. But yeah. So it's all go here. It's all, when I said I was flustered, I meant like everything is frantic.
Yeah. Why does life do this? I've had a bit of a year like that where a few unexpected things have happened work-wise. And it's just like it hits you like a sledgehammer, like all in one go. But I think when the dust settles, usually these things are for the best, aren't they? But it's just a shock when you have kind of one thing after another changing in your life.
Yeah, it's like on a if it rains it pours type vibe, where it's like I was fine, everything was zen. Like August, I was like, I'm gonna get ready, new job, gonna make sure I get all my YouTube stuff done, my Patreon stuff done, and then have you seen that TikTok meme where it's like, take my hand now, run. That's been like the last 2 months for me. It's like thinking that I'm like, okay, I can do this gently. No. Cannot in fact do it gently.
See, I'm dipping my toes into some like freelance work as well as having kind of steady job stuff alongside it. So I'm just figuring out the freelance thing, and I think you've said this to me before, that freelance, you've either got way too much to do and you're really stressed, or you're like, oh, there's not quite enough of this. And I'm on the way too much to do. I've taken on too much really stress side of it at the minute. So I'm trying to because obviously the job stuff has to keep going, and then my own books have to keep going. So I'm trying to like narrow down the freelance to what I actually want and need to do, which has been a bit of an adjustment for me, because I don't say no to good opportunities. I just keep saying yes to them, and then I'm like, oh god, but
that's how you get more good opportunities, is by saying yes to them, because they open those doors. And I think that's the thing, is I've always considered myself very lucky. I don't think I don't necessarily like believe in like fate or serendipity or anything like that, but I do think there have been some privileges that I've had that have come through the fact that I am more likely to say yes. So I think that then opens up those more doors and being like, yeah, I'll say yes to this. This is a good opportunity. And it might open up other very cool opportunities because of that. And I think that's the thing, is I did not feel qualified to do the job that I'm doing when I applied for it. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is great. Like I do have the skill set. I do know what I'm doing. It's only been about 6 weeks, but I feel like I've been there forever. Like I just feel very, very comfortable in that. Awesome. And I feel like, yeah. So it's very, very cool.
So nice to have a job like that.
It's very lucky, and I think it's quite rare. Most of my friends do the jobs because it pays for the rent or pays for their holidays or pays for their book addiction. I think it's rare that there's like, I actually love this job and I'm going to pursue this job because I love it kind of vibe. I don't know how much career growth will come from this, but at the moment I don't mind, because I'm just really, really enjoying what it is. Hannah, I can't wait to hear about Clown in the Cornfield because I'm curious. I adored the first one. Have you read? I'm assuming you've read the first two.
Yeah, I've read all three.
Yeah, you've read all three.
Yeah.
Oh, you read all three? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can text you and be like, I have theories, and you'll be like, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'll do. But I will say I loved the first one. I really enjoyed the second one. Like, I have this thing with series where sometimes I slightly love it less because you're not new in the world anymore. But actually, the third one really reinvigorated it for me. Like, it kind of goes in a slightly different direction that I really enjoyed. There was one thing I would have added, but you'll find out as soon as you start reading. You'll be like, I know what Amy was missing.
I know what this needs.
Yeah, you'll know. There was just one ingredient. I understand why the ingredient wasn't there. As you read, something gets taken away from the characters so that they have to do something on their own. So I get why it happened. It's definitely a deliberate choice, but I was just like, I just want everybody to be cozy and happy all the time. So whenever anything bad happens to characters, I'm like, oh, could we just make them? I know it's a horror book, can they just be a bit happier? This is how the Mina books happen, and they just have to sit down and watch films and eat cake every now and again, just because I'm like,
but it's nice, like it's, and I think it's a gentle thing. I think what I really liked about the second one is the fact that it was bigger and more exciting than the first one, because one of the things I can't stand in sequels, and this it doesn't matter what genre this can be fantasy, contemporary, horror, whatever, is when not only have the characters not learnt their lesson from book one, but nothing else is expanded. It is just book one on repeat. So, for example, if a fantasy book is set in a village and they travel to another village, in book two, they need to go to a city, like they need to change country, like something else needs to happen. The stakes have to be raised because it's not enough to just learn that lesson and then continue on. I finished reading The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly yesterday, and it irritated me because even though it's a standalone, the character doesn't learn anything. She just she has this really negative view of her family when she starts, and there's comments about how she views herself as like morally superior to her family at the start, and at the end she still has those views. And not only that, because she has those views, there's about 9 chapters where nothing happens because they're explaining stuff to her and she's decided they're terrible people. And I'm like, as an audience member, I agree with them. Like, I'm on their side. They've done terrible things. I'm finding it easier to empathize with them, and they're meant to be the antagonists, than I am with you, because they've learned something. Like, they've changed as people. You haven't. So I think that's why I really liked Clown and Cornfield too, because everything was bigger. There was more dramatics. The violence started in like chapter 2 as opposed to like later on. It was bigger. It was more aggressive.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of that in this book. Some new characters are introduced that really go some places with their violence. I think you'll be satisfied with that.
Good. Yay!
Hard because readers want more of the same, but also bigger, better, and some readers want different more. Yeah. So I got some like more romance all the time, please, all the kissing, don't care about violence. And then I got some, can we just have less romance and more blood, please? So sequels are hard because people liked different things about them. So you've just got to plow the course that you want to plow, I think, and like take the stuff you liked from the first one and grow the stuff. Yeah. And don't write more than 3 books because honestly, by the third one, I was like, man, I'm like, I can't.
I'm done.
I've for now, at the very least, that world is as big as I want it to be.
That's fair. And I think also that's not always a bad thing to know when the world on your characters is closed, because I think fan fiction is always going to be a thing. So people who want more will make it themselves, and they're engaging in your writing again and again then, and they will reread it. And, you know, like Twilight, for example, is a great trilogy. If we leave it there, it's great. And I think sometimes when you then extend it beyond that, series that become 5 or 6 books, you're really thinning out what it is, or you are literally just copy and pasting the things that worked. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's better to just leave the story there. Having said that, I immediately looked up at my shelves, saw the 18 books of Skullduggery Pleasant, and thought, there is not a single thing I would change about any of those books. They are going strong.
Do as many as you need and as you want. I think if I did the Mina books, if I continued them, I don't know whether I will, but if I ever did, if there was a need, they would be, I think, more standalone, like episodic, like each one, you know, like the Truly Devious, Maureen Johnson did a very clear trilogy, and then now each of them is a standalone mystery. I think that is a good way to sustain interest, because you can just reinvent every time, and it's kind of, it could stop at any time as well. Like if she's done, if the publisher's done, if the characters are done, like any ending now is a satisfying one. I think that is the way I'd probably go.
That's fair. I think that makes sense. And I think it's really interesting talking to you and other writers about the books that they read and like series and things like that, because I think it's all well and good as a reader being like, well, I would do it this way. But considering you're actually working on stuff, it's very, very different. Because I think there's no time that you or I would ever give a criticism to a book that we wouldn't be prepared to give to our own writing. So it's a case of like, for me, the thriller that I'm writing, the werewolf thriller that I'm still working on, I want it to be a duology because it's two sisters and it's that kind of, it starts and then it ends and it kind of has that kind of circular structure. They end in different places, but it can only be in two parts. I could not sell it as a duology and then like the publisher goes, okay, we want this to be 6 books. Cause I'd be like, where? Like, what story do you want it to be? Because if I do that, it's thinning out what I've already put in it. And unless we're going to do it like that, where it's a case of, right, we have this duology and then there's standalones following different characters, or they solve different crimes, or they get involved in different things, that's not the narrative for me. And I think it'd be very, very difficult for me to then follow my own advice of going, okay, well, the sequel needs to be bigger. It needs to have more world. They need to learn different lessons because, well, I'm like, well, the lesson they needed to learn for my narrative is already in book 1 and 2. So I think it's...
Yes, completely get that. And I don't think any author should be... it's hard, isn't it? Because if somebody keeps throwing money at something, I'm Supernatural and Lost, I'm looking at you. If a production company keeps throwing money at it, you know, they're going to keep getting made. But I just wouldn't want the quality to deteriorate. And I mean, Sam and Dean are probably still watchable regardless of what they're doing, let's be honest. But did the story need to continue as long as it did? I have questions, you know, whether it did. So yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather it be the length I always intended, be the story I always wanted it to be, I think.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying that the thing I've written, I was 99.9% sure my next year's book was going to be a standalone. And now there's just like I've left a little foot in the door that it might not be. So I was like, I'm not writing series. Series are really hard. I just want to break. I want to do a standalone. And then I just had this idea. I was like, oh man, if I just leave that one little thing open, it, you know.
You've got options then, but that's fair. Because like, if you decide, well, you know, actually, it's nice having that open ending. It's kind of sandboxing it for fanfic, for even just interpretation. Because we don't read anything in a vacuum. People are going to have that anyway. Or you could be like, it's okay. I've already set this up, so I can continue to pursue that.
Yeah, I'm so desperate to say what it actually is, but I can't, obviously. But yeah, when you find out what it is, you might see why I want to do more stuff with it.
I'll read it and I'll be like, I get it. I see what you did there. Yeah,
it's hopefully going to be really soon. I've been spending how long? I mean, I've known about this book for years and years and years, and like pre-Mina known about it. So like, it's nice to actually be able to talk about it soon.
That's very exciting. When's the kind of information released? Do you know, or is it just coming soon? Just soon.
Very soon. Yeah,
very soon. That's exciting. Yep. Hey and welcome, Red Horror Store and House of Politics. Well done.
Good ones. I love both of them.
If you absolutely love Dracula and thus vampires and vampire-inspired books, in the description of this video is the link to all of Amy's books.
Thank you.
That have vampires and stuff in them.
Thank you.
Go check it out. Go treat yourself. There is also, I've done a Gothtober coupon as well, so that people can get 10% off their basket when they treat themselves.
Thank you. Send me a link for that. I'll post about it because that's really kind of you. And can I say Dracula, my absolute favourite classic and one of my favourite books, probably one of my top 5 favourite books of all time. I did a shelf sort the other day, and I think I have more than 10 copies of Dracula. I just put them all to one side to see, and I was like, it doesn't stand up on its own anymore. It's just a big apple.
It starts to tilt, yeah. I've only got, well, I say only, I've got 3 copies of Dracula.
I mean, that's a respectable number of copies of Dracula.
Yeah, but I keep seeing others, and I'm like, where was I was in a shop the other day, and they had like it was like a black and red stenciled version, front cover, and I was like, well, I need it. And I didn't get it. I was very, very good. But I think I didn't get it purely because I was getting paid like a week later. And in my head, I was like, I will return. I will return for this. I love Dracula. Dracula and Jekyll and Hyde are my two favorites. I can never decide.
Really good as well. I've created a folder of Christmas presents that I want. And so far, it's just 3 different editions of Dracula. And Kev was like, is this a mistake? And I'm like, no. And he said, did you know one of these cost £60? And I was like, yes.
And that's how we know it wasn't a mistake. This is a very important gift.
He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand. And he was like, "Why does it cost £60?" And I was like, "It's a Folio Society edition." And he was like, "I'm going to need more context and information."
Like, you don't.
Like,
Just
I tried
trust
to
me.
explain to him what that means, and he was just like, "Yeah, you can have that £8 one that's in Waterstones. That's probably fine." And I'm like, "But I already have that one."
Amazing.
So, yeah, I'm sure the Folio one will be mine at some point. It's just probably not justifiable right now.
I see it in your future that it is on your shelves.
Yeah.
I see it.
I've been coveting it. You know, when you've been coveting an item for years and years and years, it's just, it keeps looking at me with this beautiful moon on the cover.
Yeah. No, absolutely. My parents are really funny. So obviously I've got my own bookshop, and the year I set up my bookshop, my parents were like, "Cool, we don't need to buy you books ever again." And I was like, excuse me, since when? And I remember like that first Christmas, I had like a whole bunch of different books on my wish list, and like some were Waterstones editions or just general books that I wanted, or like just general sprayed edges or whatever. And my mom was like, "But you can get these yourself." And I was like, "I can't get these ones." So now whenever it's like Christmas or birthday, the only books I'm allowed to put on those lists are special editions I cannot get in through my company, because otherwise what my mum did previously was she just like baxed me 20 quid and went, "Treat yourself." And I was like, "Thanks." Like,
I want
I want to open books. I want to open it. I want to see which ones you chose for me. But no, it wasn't to be. But to be fair, having said that, I'm not being harsh on my mum with her refusing to buy me books anymore, because for about 4 years, all she asked for was the Kenzo poppy perfume and cardigans. And I was like, "You've had it every year for the last 3 years. You're not having either of those things this year. Get something else." So.
Oh, this is buying stuff for my dad. Every year I buy my dad a book and a CD for Christmas. And I was like, I actually think I need to mix it up. So I messaged my mum, like, "I'm going rogue this year. I'm buying something different." People don't dare buy me books because they go, "Oh, I've heard of a vampire book you might want to read." And I'm like, "Is it Lucy Undying? Is it The Immortal Dark? Is it?" And they're like, "Oh, you already have those, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yep, yes, I do."
Yeah. That's
so yeah, don't buy me books as a surprise. This is what most people have learned, because they will probably have it or already ordered it or something. Especially if it's got vampires in. I already have it. I guarantee it.
Have you ever been gifted like a bookish gift that was actually useful or helpful, or you just really enjoyed it?
Ooh, do you know what? One of the best bookish gifts I've been bought was a Point Horror tote bag that my friend Shelley, who runs the Tales Point Horror book club, she got me, and it's got all Point Horror spines on it, and I just fell in love, and I still use it. And I think she must have bought me it 10 years ago now at this point. That just, yeah, I have been bought bookish bits and bobs in the past, but that's the one that springs to mind, that it was just like, yes, just the thing I needed at that moment and still love. How about you? Is there like a really good bookish gift that stands out?
It's a really little thing, but I adore it. It's on my desk somewhere. It is this little wooden, it's got a hole for your thumb to go in, and then it just sits in your book. So no matter how big and chunky your book is, you can use one hand to hold it. So I get really bad cramp if I'm sat holding a book too long. And it also stops your spines cracking because it just sits in the middle. And like I said, it's a really little thing. It was bought like alongside some like other gifty bits for my birthday from my sister-in-law and my brother, who are both big readers. It was a game changer. I was like, it's such a little thing. I was like, I adore this, and it is. I'll see if I can find it later. It's just a really cute little gift.
I have just remembered I have one of those, and I don't think I've ever used it because I wanted it as a prop to take pictures with, and like instantly, you know, when you buy something and it's the most important thing in the world, then you instantly forget you've got it. Like, I've got one of those. It's gorgeous. It's a little wooden heart-shaped one. I'm gonna have to dig it out. I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it is too. It came with a wooden bookmark. It's a heart and it looks like a stake, so it's got a wooden stake through it. So clearly I needed it, but I haven't used it for its intended purpose.
That's fair. Maybe you will.
I'm going to go and dig it out in the sprints now.
That is the first priority of these sprints. Yeah. That's fair. I will see if I can find mine as well. I usually keep it with my bookmarks, but like I said, I have started packing. I now have 7 boxes of books that I've already packed. It may be in there, but I don't think it is. I think it's on my desk. Loved reading S.T. Gibson's On Spirits today. Prequel to the... Okay, Very cool.
I've read. Is S.T. Gibson the author who wrote Education in Malice?
Yes, and Dowry of Blood, and yeah.
I always get confused for some reason with Susan Dennard. The names are not the least bit the same, but I was convinced they were the same person for years, and I got.
Do you know what? They've got really similar writing styles. I was fair. Having said that, Dowry of Blood is in second person, but I feel like the target audience, the writing is
like
very
Luminaries.
similar.
I was convinced that Luminaries was written by the author of Dowry and Blood for the longest time, and then I put the two books together, and I was like, oh,
those are different people.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. I feel like I have not given Susan Dennard the chance her writing deserves, because I read Truthwitch, but I made the mistake of reading it just after reading Serpent and Dove. And I hated Serpent and Dove. I really did not enjoy it. And the opening of Truthwitch is beat for beat the same.
Oh, really?
It is literally that both books start with they arrive at a place they shouldn't be at in disguise. They get rustled and basically find out they've got to escape. They manage to make an escape only because of magic and get caught up with the authorities almost immediately. And then someone they care about gets like injured or whatever. To the point that I was like, am I reading the same book again? And it was just a real shame, because after that, I just couldn't get into it. I really, really struggled. And I feel like I've not picked up anything else from Susan Dennard purely because I didn't enjoy this completely different book, which is such a shame. I will get back to it.
Try the Luminaries, because it's fantasy, but it has a real horror feel to it. Because as you probably know, I struggle quite a bit with fantasy sometimes. If it doesn't have another hook to it, like if it has some romance that I'm really into or horror, and that had like a real horror fantasy feel that I did like. I don't think I've read any of her other books, so that is my only. I think I have Truthwitch actually, but I've never read it. It's just sat there for years.
For years.
I mean, honestly, I did a shelf sort the other day, and it was embarrassing. There was a book that I remember buying around the time of Twilight, and it's been sitting on my shelves ever since. Called, oh gosh, I've forgotten what it's called now. Splendor Falls, I think it is. And I was like, what's this book? And I think it was billed at the time as being Twilight vibes, and I didn't read it. It's just still there. So I've kept it because I thought I need to at some point actually give this book a go.
That's fair. So Emma's spring priority might be going to bed to read because they don't feel very well, and Biff is not letting them rest. Biff is their newest ginger kitten. And he is adorable, but his paws are massive, and I just feel like he is going to be a terror 100%. So yes, go rest. Apparently they're part of the same, or they're from the same US publisher, which would explain the similar writing style.
Yeah, and similar branding and stuff probably as well, and positioning them in the same in the market. So I feel a bit vindicated. Thank you, Happy Nutter. I feel like I'm not losing my mind quite so much.
That's fair.
Oh no. That's when you know you're not well.
Yeah. I would say rest. If you want to wash your face, that might make you feel better, but don't stress yourself. Definitely rest. Take it easy. Have something to eat. Make yourself a tea. Biff is adorable.
I need to track down pictures on social media immediately. And importantly, is Biff named after Biff Tannen from Back to the Future? Because if so,
I really hope so.
An extra level of awesome to that whole situation.
Need to pick a new book for your Gothtober list. What are your options, Ellen? I need to know. I was
going to say that. Tell us, you with the right people.
Yeah, we need to know. Yeah. I need to look at buying a floor-to-ceiling cat tree for him. Yeah, to be fair, so Horatio, my cat, loves to climb. Big climber. And I have a Billy bookcase that's quite tall, but it's like just the thin one, so it's the 40 by 40 one. I've had to put heavy items on top of it because he is obsessed with being up. The amount of photos I have from like this angle, and it's got to the point where he's done it so much that the structural integrity of the bookshelf is now in question because it wobbles. And I'm like, do you know what I don't need? I don't need to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning hearing everything crash and clatter because he's knocked it over because of his need to climb. So I endorse his purchase. That's fair. I mean, to answer the question, I suggest you refer back to my earlier comments. Yes. Okay, so it is.
Okay, excellent. I probably missed that.
I zoned out because I got too excited. She basically, so the cowboy jacket that Doc wears in the third one, she made from scratch.
That is amazing.
Very cool.
See, we own many incarnations of the DeLorean, which my son is bought and now can name. And we went to a car museum, and he was so excited to see a real DeLorean. He just wouldn't look at any of the cars. He just wanted to get to the end to see the DeLorean. And what he doesn't know is that we've got like all these different. As he gets older, there's like a DeLorean Lego waiting, and But Playmobil is about the level we can cope with at the moment. I think Lego might just be too much.
There you go. So
Thank
your Insta DMs already.
Thank you. Excellent. That's exactly what I need to see tonight.
Right. I'm not going to let you delay having a look at them. Do we want to do a little warm-up one? Should we do 25 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
And then we can do slightly longer sprints when we're ready. So I'm just going to edit one of these. So I have been using my timers, but for some reason my internet has just not been playing ball, and it keeps crashing halfway through a video. So we're back to just old school banners.
Fine with me. See you in a little bit.
I'll see you in a bit. Hey, hey, hey. How did we... How'd you get on?
Good. So I'm critiquing a query package for a friend. That was one of the things I wanted to do tonight. And I've managed to do their query letter and synopsis, and I'm on the pages, and it's very funny as well, sitting there grinning to myself. It's got like I'm not going to say what, because obviously it's their book, but it's got like a really clever way of starting, like a comedy YA. So yeah, I'm feeling good on their behalf. I'm seeing them tomorrow, so I was like, I've got to just get this done today.
That's fair. Fantastic. Well, I managed to do 22 pages.
Nice.
And what a start. What a phenomenal beginning. That prologue.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Adam Caesar knows what to do with the prologue. He understood the mission.
He understood the assignment. Yeah. Exactly.
That's the word I wanted.
So yes, it's the musical that they're named after.
I really want to see it, but aforementioned 4-year-old means I've not been to the theatre for years, unless I'm watching like the Gruffalo or something. So yeah, that is on my list. Probably the top of my list of things to see when I go back to the future, back to the theatre to see Back to the Future.
That's the tongue twister, to be fair.
I know. I lost it halfway through.
Pixie has arrived just in time. Hey Pixie, I hope you're well. The way I went to say hi, I'm on a call.
I do that all the time. Honestly, every time I'm watching the sprint, I talk to it. And when I come on real sprints with people, I don't know if I've met them in real life or I've just watched them on TV. So yeah, it's not just you. I'm not alone.
It's also because like I always feel the need to break the silence by being like, hey, hey, hey. And I feel like if someone does that on like sprints that I'm watching when they're like, hey, I'm like, hello. Oh, no, you're not in the room.
I always end up talking quietly because I'm scared of making people jump. So I'm just like, hello, you guys, okay?
That's fair. To be fair, that also doesn't help. The Zoom lifestyle that we've had to lead before does not help with that, I think.
Yeah.
I just did jobs, no reading. That's fine. You did jobs. Proud of you. I think I want to start Woman Eating and see if I like it.
Is that a vampire book? I feel like it might be a vampire book that I don't have.
I think it is, but I think it's a very gentle. Vampires are more of a metaphor as opposed to like strictly vampires. Fine.
I might want real vampires in my vampire books. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I think a few times I've gone, is this vampires, and not bought it.
Like if it's vampires, I need it.
Yes, obviously.
Good. I'm glad you feel more awake. Remembered I have some illustrations due tomorrow, so working on them, and started listening to Wicked. Nice.
Wicked. One of my favourites. I am so desperate to see it. Every time I'm in London, I see the ads. I'm like, oh man, soon.
The best seats.
I did book an adult thing for myself though. I'm going to the Tim Burton exhibition by myself in London.
Oh wow!
Because it's in the middle of the week, and I was like, I know most people are not working on a flexible timetable like I am, so I'm just taking myself.
To be fair, it is the one thing that I knew going into having a proper job I was going to really like miss, and it is the ability to go to things when no one else is there and just go and do things flexibly. I do miss that already.
We've swapped. This is the first time I've still got some days I'm not flexible, but I just have a little more flexibility now.
That's fair.
I'm going to remember this when I can actually go. Pixie with pens. Is it like, are there actually people getting bitten, or is it a metaphor? Because I really need to know. It's important. I need my vampires.
Gentle. See, everyone I've spoken to said that it's kind of like slow burn rather than full on horror.
Interesting.
But maybe I'm wrong. Vampire eating, you said, and it was interesting.
Oh my goodness, the stuff I've Googled and I've been writing about vampires, like, could vampires digest food and stuff like that, and I always regret it. Don't recommend Googling anything to do with vampire anatomy. Yeah, we'll leave it there.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Pixie. Nice. Right. Well, so in the next sprint, I need to charge my phone because it is on 3%. I'm going to stick to this. I'm actually going to get up, though. I think I'm going to listen to the next couple of chapters on audiobook just so I can tidy up a little bit. I also really need a cup of tea. I need a cup of tea. That's the other thing that I miss from like working for myself, is just being at home, not needing to wait to go to the bathroom because I'm in a lesson, or just having caffeine readily. I mean, to be fair, the school that I work at, they've got a really fancy coffee machine that does like cappuccinos and things like that, except I don't drink coffee. So I have to make tea in a cup like a plebeian. Disgusting.
I'm teaching 1 day a week now in a primary school, and I'd forgotten, because I've not taught for 7 years, I'd forgotten how you have to time your bathroom breaks, and the amount of times I've gone like, oh no, I'm an hour into a 3-hour morning and I really need to loo.
Yeah.
I feel that pain.
It was always weird because I always think of like the teachers when like students put their hands up and go, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And they go, "You should have been." And I'm like, I would never be that teacher because I will always be that person that goes, "I relate." Go
Do
to
you
the
know what?
bathroom.
I generally do let people. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not that strict to the point of like human bodily functions are a no. Like I always let them get a drink and go to the loo, because I'm like, I do drink all the way through the lesson. I always have a massive bottle of water with me, which they laugh at because this is the size. It's the only way that I can remember to drink water. Like have a massive bottle of it. So yeah, I'm generally not that person who says they can't go, and especially because I just don't know the exact rules of this. Like I'm not in this school all the time, so I don't know the ins and outs. So I just kind of forge my own path with some stuff. I'm like, yes, you shall go to the bathroom.
That's fair. I mean, she's trying not to eat people, but it's a struggle.
Okay, sold. Yeah, that's fine. I can deal with that. That sounds like
no.
the kind of existential angst that I'm into.
That's fair. I'm widely known as the person who drinks the most tea at work. To be fair, so my dad was self-employed whilst I was doing my A-levels, and I had quite a few threes at home. And it got to the point, especially around my exams, that my dad was like, we have to put a time limit on this. Because what I used to do is I used to come down on the hour every hour and make tea. And like we used to do it in a pot. So you'd leave it to brew for like 20 minutes and then you come back to it. But it was routine, and it got to the point where it was just too much. So now what I did when I was self-employed is I used to habit stack. So I would stick the kettle on, then I would load the washing machine or unload the washing machine, finish making tea, then load or unload the washing machine, depending on like where I'd got to it, hang the washing up to dry, do another chore of some description, and then go back to work. But just before I went back to work, I would then pour my tea and take it with me. So the washing machine would take 2 hours. So I would have to at least 2 hours wait before the next tea. Whereas now I have to get a tea because otherwise the walk to the theatre is going to take me 6 minutes to get there. I am not coming back for another hour at least. So I have to be very careful. Whereas in the comfort of my own home, I'm going to have a tea. Well, to be fair, I've said that. I now really want a hot chocolate because I've remembered that I have hot chocolate.
See, my friend Mia has the best hot chocolate collection I've ever seen because she's got a velvetizer, and I think she's subscribed to the Hotel Chocolat thing where they send you one a month.
Send you a different flavour every month, yeah.
So today I've had 2 really nice Halloweeny hot chocolates, and now I'm thinking like, do I just need to batch order a load of Hotel Chocolats and just add that to my repertoire of tea stuff that I drink?
To be fair, so I have treated myself. That was the thing that I got my first adult. I think I keep air quoting because it's something my parents kept saying to me about getting a proper job. So my adult job, my adult money, I got myself a velvetizer, and then I got, when you ordered it, you got half price off the chocolates that you ordered with it. So I just got milk chocolate to begin with, and then my friend Sophie used to work at Hotel Chocolat and quit to go and work at an SEN school. And as they were leaving, they were like, right, this is the end of my 50% thing. So anyone wants to send me money, I will get you things you want. So I then ordered the chocolate orange hot chocolate and the pumpkin spice. So I'm like, I've got something for Halloween and for Christmas.
Yes, perfect. That's amazing. I got the advent calendar last year, and it did take me about 2 months to drink it all because I can't drink hot chocolate a day. So that was good. No. Although some of the flavors were weird. Mince pie hot chocolate, I didn't like.
No, that's fair. But at least you tried it. It's good to try new things.
Do you know what? And lots of people probably would. It just had that slight, mince pie sometimes tastes a bit like alcohol, and I don't drink, so that was all I could taste when I drank it. So maybe some people would drink it and think it was lush, but not for me.
Oh, it's blurred by Ruth Ozeki. I didn't know that. Very cool.
Ruth Ozeki books. Do I need to?
Ruth Ozeki. They did. There's a couple of like literary books that I've got on my shelf. I can't remember what they're named, but it's the Something of Happiness. I'm going to find it.
Okay. That's probably why I've not heard of them, because I don't tend to venture into literary circles that much. I do read the occasional bit of literary things. So
the 2 books that I've got on my shelf upstairs is The Book of Form and Emptiness, which is the one that was the Women's Fiction Prize winner.
Oh, cool.
And A Tale for the Time Being is the other one I've got.
Okay.
which they both just sound really interesting. But I mainly got them because I'm not a massive like prize winner reader. Like I won't go out of my way to read like the Booker Prize winners, for example. But I really like the Costa women's fiction, and I really like the Women's Fiction Prize. They always have something a little bit different. So Bandit Queens, I'm obsessed with. I think I must have a couple more upstairs somewhere that I've not got to yet. But generally, I quite like those. So yeah, I picked up some Rizikis as well. There is a metaphor to be read into the Little Blood, but if that helps Amy.
It does massively. I can go with metaphors as long as they come with blood. Yeah.
Same. In your velvetizer.
Yeah.
They both slap. But like slowly and gently. It's less of a slap and more of like a gentle caress, but a violent caress.
Oh God, that is the word for a velvetizer, isn't it? It's a chocolate caress. Yes.
A chocolate caress, yeah, exactly. So I do think I need caffeine because I am going to have to go and pick up Zach from work at about 10. So I might have a tea now and a hot chocolate when we're done to celebrate having read some more.
Yes, that sounds very smart. I've started drinking matcha tea and I find that that's a good like pick me up in the morning.
Yeah,
like my new go-tos.
That's fair. I feel like there's loads of things like matcha and like bubble tea and stuff that just were not on my periphery for years, and then suddenly, like out of nowhere, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
I need to give it a go. I do need to give it a go.
Flavored matcha is really nice. Bird and Blend do like raspberry ripple flavor and stuff like that. So that's like a good gateway matcha because it tastes really sweet. It doesn't taste like green tea.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I'm not a massive fan of green tea, to be fair. Matcha, it's so good. There we go. Pixie's on board. Okay, so it's 22. So should we do until 20 past, and then that's 40 minutes this time?
Yep, I may flake out fairly soon after that because I'm tired. But yeah, I'll do another sprint.
No, to be fair, I'm not looking to sprint loads this evening because I've been at work all day. Last year I did sprints every Sunday all day, and every Wednesday I started about 5 and then went on. But I just don't have time to do that with the job.
Yeah.
But Olivia and Tish have been doing sprints on Twitter and on YouTube. So I feel like it's just a nice little like check-in of like how our weekend's going. And then on Sunday, I will go back and be like, panic read 3 books again, which is what I did this time. So I managed to read Buffy Hellmouth and another vampire one. I read When I Came to the Castle, the graphic novel from... Is this a vampire book that you don't know of?
I'm listening. I don't have it. No, I do not.
I've got a spare copy. So all you got to do is DM me an address.
Are you sure? That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's When I Arrived at the Castle.
Yeah.
Basically, she is a cat lady and she is a vampire and things happen. It is really bizarre. It's a graphic novel.
I like
so I'm just going to find a page that doesn't have any like spoilers on it.
I thought you were going to say something else then, just based on the cover. I was like, I'm going to find a page that doesn't have rude things on it.
I mean, there is rude stuff in this. This is definitely an adult graphic novel. But I just really enjoy like the very gothic aesthetic.
Beautiful. That color palette is just like, if I ever had a graphic novel, that's what I would want. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, the synopsis, the blurb is that rain-drenched and chilled to the bone, she arrives at the Countess's castle. Like many before her, none of whom returned, she's determined to snuff out the horrors within. But could she ever be prepared for what hides within its turrets, what unfurls under the fluttering flags? Emily Carroll's hair-raising tale, charged with eroticism, won't just make your skin crawl, it will crawl underneath it.
Oh, it's Emily Carroll. Is she the Through the Woods?
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Sold. Vampires plus Emily Carroll.
And then it's so fangs out fierce, I'm still tasting blood and second guessing the skin I'm in. Karen Walton, who wrote Orphan Black.
Oh, that's cool.
So very, very cool. So yeah, let me know. DM me your address and I'll post it out to you.
Thanks, Hannah. That's very, very kind. And a vampire book I don't own, so you've just like
exactly.
Made it.
And you told me you had all of them, so I'm like, well, there you go.
I did. You've proved me wrong. I really try. I try so hard. Any vampire book. I nearly didn't buy Lucy Undying because I had it on Audible. I was like, I'm going to buy it as well.
That's fair. So Tisha's been doing them on the Gothtober Twitter. So they kind of like check in and like set timers and things, not to the same extent as this. And we're actually thinking next year we might get rid of the Twitter because we've just not been using it very much this year and it's not being engaged with. We're thinking of moving to TikTok. And obviously we've set up an Instagram as well. I think we're just going to do things more video based.
My
I think it's
Twitter's
just more
so
fun.
quiet. It used to be my best engagement, and now I'd say it's my worst. Like if I posted across all my platforms the same content, Twitter would be the one that would just be like Threads seems to be picking up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Compared with Twitter, and then Instagram and TikTok are my best two, really, for chatting to people.
I'm still ticking off by the list. Yeah, she's literally a cat, because when I was talking about it on my live, I was like, yeah, it's a cat lady. And obviously I think they were thinking halfway between like Catwoman and Crazy Cat Lady. I was like, no, she's a literal cat. It means you're a furry. Thanks, Pixie. Not true. Not true.
Weirdly, I was just with you immediately. That cat lady, I just knew what you meant.
Yeah, you were like, cat, obviously.
Yeah, totally get it.
To be fair, do you know what? It's really funny. So you mentioned about the werewolf novel. I remember when, because it's the book that I was working on for my master's, which just goes to show how long I've been working on it. And when I first submitted it, my lecturer was like, I was expecting this to be something very, very different. And I was like, oh, like different in what way? And he was like, I was expecting it to be like a hornier Twilight. And I was like, how dare you? That is not the vibe at all.
Though, saying that, you've just spoken my language there.
There you go. You're like, Hannah, come on. That's what we need.
Can I just write that? I'll remember that. In fact, that would be the perfect. Can you imagine pitching that to publishers? It's like Twilight but hornier.
Like Twilight but hornier. That's gonna be the theme for 2025. Absolute. The Furry Fury. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh, do you know what? I got a code for it, set it up, and did absolutely nothing with it. So I don't even know whether I still have an account. Maybe it's just sitting there waiting for me to pick it up. But
it's just waiting for you.
Yeah, I've got too many social media things. I really obviously like YouTube as well, so I just think that Blue Sky might be one thing too far.
Yeah, that's fine. To be fair, Pixie, you've read the most recent chapters. When I first wrote it, it was a YA. It just isn't anymore. So there's more violence in it, and there are 2 sex scenes, which is decidedly not YA. But yeah, so it did become hornier than it was. On that note,
yeah, so many sound bites tonight.
I know.
Choose your favorite one.
I think I'm going to so we'll go to 25 again because that gives us our full 40 minutes. And I will see you in a bit.
See you in a while.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hello, just had to untangle myself from my cables then.
How did we get on?
Good. So I edited 16 pages of my friend's book, double line spaced, but I'm quite pleased with that.
That's fantastic.
It's flowing really quickly, so it's one of those where I haven't needed to do much. So yeah, I've got 10 pages left to read, which I would quite like to do. So I'm going to work a tiny bit longer tonight, I think.
That's fair.
How about you? How did you get on with your reading?
Yeah, I did quite a few. I'm up to page 35 now, but I also had to take a break and go pick up Zach from work. Upside, that means I can have that hot chocolate now.
Yay!
And I will probably just continue to read this or go back to Prisoner's Throne in the kind of non-sprinty bit where I just chill and enjoy myself, because I think 2 hours is probably enough for a Wednesday.
Yes, I get that. I feel like that on a Thursday now. I don't know. Is this an age thing? I mean, you're younger than me by quite a way, I think. But I used to be able to sprint to about 10, and now I'm more like, oh, it's getting a bit past 9 o'clock. Like, I need to go to bed.
I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if it's the hour so much as I know that once I'm done, I am going to have to sort out dinner or eat dinner. And then I'm going to want to kind of decompress before I go to sleep, because I used to read before I went to sleep. And now the books that I'm reading, I do not trust myself to put them down.
No.
So I can't sit and do 30 minutes of reading before I go to sleep like I used to, because the books that would be those gentle bedtime reads, whether it's a romance or whatever, I'm just not picking up. I'm almost exclusively picking up high fantasy, horror, or gothic fiction that I'm like, well, I'm in it. And that's it.
It's not going to like lull you to sleep, is he really?
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I don't do that as often. And just plus, like, work has been like life at the moment has been really stressful. So I'm like, the earlier I go to bed, the better chance I have of actually falling to sleep at a reasonable time. Once I'm in the new place and I'm a bit more settled, I'm sure I'll be fine. But until then, I'm like, I just have to be gentle with it. And I know that otherwise I will burn out, because I'm a morning person. So I will get up at 6 regardless. My cat will also get me up at 6 regardless. So it's a case of there's no it's better off for me to chill and have an earlier night than it is for me to try and like scrape through in the morning.
I do too much scraping through at the moment, and I'm the same as you. I start to get like worn really thin. If I do that too many days in a row, I can feel like I did a late one last night working because I knew I was busy today, and I'm like feeling it today. Yeah. I tried. Working late doesn't work for me anymore.
No, that's fair. Upside for anyone else who feels like they do need more sprints, Ali is an American, so it's on a completely different timeline to me. Yay. And therefore is still sprinting. Apparently Emma currently has them muted so they can support us both. So when you say the spice is very good and the violence, or the spilence even, which book are you talking about?
Is this woman eating?
Possibly. That's what I'm trying to work out, because I didn't think there was like spice in it. Am I being really dense? What book are you talking about? I mean, I appreciate that was before we sprinted. So,
have you read Mayfly?
Not yet. I've got it on my own TBR. I need to get.
Speaking of the depraved, that's how I describe that book. It's really, I keep wanting to say enjoyed. I don't think I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, but yeah, check every single content warning carefully and make sure anybody listening to this that you know what you're getting, because it's a wild ride. Okay. But I do recommend it.
All right. To be fair, I hate the cover. I hate the cover. I'm really tempted to just paint over it. But I've heard nothing but good things. So, okay.
Oh, it's so weird, and it's so like dark in place. Like it goes darker than I actually like comfortably in places. But it was so compelling that I couldn't stop reading it. That's like fair. I didn't ever think of DNFing it, but there were moments where I was like, oh man, this is a lot for me.
This is a lot, yeah. It's Mayfly. So Maeve, like the name, Maeve, fly.
Yeah. Remember I said depraved though, and just
depraved. Oh, the Pixie will be all up in that. Yeah, for sure. I read the first chapter of Women Eating. I think I'm gonna like it. Love that for you. Emma is in bed, colouring the illustration, and excited to read once it's all done. Good. I thought I'd do some chill sketchbook drawing this sprint and then spent 40 minutes organising my pencils. Love that. Love that.
That is so relatable. I don't draw, but I do like writing lists for an hour when I could be actually doing things on the list. So yeah,
it feels like productive behaviour regardless of how much you're procrastinating.
Yep.
So
your book.
Here for that. Okay. Thank you. I was like, what book has got spice and violence in it? Because clearly I need to read it. No, I need to finish writing it. Yeah. But thank you, Pixie. Ali's got another. Yeah, so Ali is not a rescue professional, but cats and small dogs have a habit of just finding Ali. And they've got about 5 cats at the moment that they've rescued from like different areas, like around their house. The kitten they've just taken on looks like a Maine Coon, like a baby Maine Coon. It's beautiful, really, really fluffy thing. Got stuck on their roof. Apropos of nothing, just woke up this morning. There was a kitten on their roof. So yeah, they've got another cat. It's very cute. Very, very cute. Cross stitching for you, making progress on your pumpkin. Cute. Ali has 5 cats and only one was actively sought out. Yeah, many cats.
That's amazing.
Cats. But yeah, cool. Right, well, I think we're going to leave it there. A gentle couple of hours. I wish you all the best on your continued editing. And on everyone else getting up to stuff. But like I said, go check out Ali's sprints if you do need something else to do. Also treat yourself to something from Waypoint, because there is a Gothtober coupon and links to all of Amy's books below.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
And thank you for having me on. It's been lovely. I feel like I've managed to do like quite a few Gothtobers over the years, and I always really enjoy it. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm really glad you came. I like hanging out.
Me too.
Cool.
Bye, everyone in the comments.
Is there anything else you want to promo before I end the stream?
No, just follow me on YouTube if you want more of what you've seen. Subscribe to my channel. Read my books if you want to read about vampires in New Orleans and romance and murder mystery and twists that hopefully melt your brain. Thank you.
Why is the cat's not same? Actually, I don't have the money. Mood. Anytime.
If you want more depraved books, I can usually pull a few recommendations out for you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.